Hey everybody, I have some news for you. I'm going to be talking about a movie that I just saw tonight, the first movie of 2015. And what was it? Taken 3. So as you can tell from my voice probably, I don't sound too enthusiastic about it because I was kind of let down by this. I was kind of expecting it not to be as good as the first one, but there were some things I was hoping it would do a little bit better than the second movie. And let's start with Liam Neeson, shall we? First of all, Liam Neeson is still badass. No matter what movie you put him in, it could be a bad movie or a good movie, he's always badass in it, and he always delivers. So that point right there is good. We got Maggie Grace is back. She's not doing any, she's not throwing any bombs this time. She's just acting like the daughter that she should be, which is fine. I don't mind Maggie Grace. As a matter of fact, I have a huge crush on her, so. And then we have Famke Janssen returning as Liam Neeson's wife. Or I like to call her Jean Grey, because I like typecasting people. So, she in this movie, she's murdered. Obviously, that's the whole plot of the movie, is that she's murdered, he's framed. And who is it? Who knows? He has to find out. That's the whole plot of the movie. It's the fugitive. It's pretty much the fugitive. It's a poor man's fugitive, I like to think of it. Because unlike the fugitive, which was really well written, really well acted, all this, there's some actors in this movie that aren't, top notch, and the writing is nowhere near The Fugitive. The Fugitive is a really well made film. While this movie tries to be The Fugitive, but fails on almost every level. Not almost every level, because there's some good things to like about the movie. Like, if you like the action from the first two Taken films, you'll enjoy the action in this one. There's some good moments throughout the film, but then here comes the negative stuff. Specifically, the main villain, who we're supposed to believe is the main villain. And he's barely in this movie at all. And it's hard to really think of him that he was supposed to be this main villain, because he's barely in it. He shows up at the very beginning, he's set up, we think we're gonna see him again, but then he doesn't. He doesn't even have any real meaning to the movie, so it's like, oh, interesting. And the thing that bugged me the most about this guy is that he looked like Lloyd Christmas, like an evil Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber, He looked evil, like an evil Lloyd Christmas. That's all I can pretty much say about him. Seriously. He had the exact same haircut and everything. Just a different actor. It wasn't Jim Carrey, obviously. And then, who else do we have back in this movie besides the three characters that I mentioned earlier? We have Stuart. That's right, Stuart from the first movie is now back in this movie, and he surprisingly looks really fit this time. Where in the last movie, he looked like a little bit of a nerd kind of guy. I think I remember him being a little bit chubby too. He obviously has been working out a little bit more in this movie, and which is hard. I don't mind when movies change actors, but when they make you think back to the first movie and where you first saw him, and they make you think, well, this guy doesn't even look remotely close to the other guy at all, they're changing it for something extreme, for whatever the purpose this movie might serve that character as. And it kind of bothered me, personally. It kind of did. The boyfriend is also back, Maggie Grace's boyfriend. I don't even know if it was the same character or not. And, he's so little in this movie, like he was in the last movie, that he's not even important for me to even continue on from here. And then we got Forrest Whitaker as this cop who's searching for Liam Neeson, and he's pretty cool. He's no Tommy Lee Jones, I'll tell you that. He kind of plays the Tommy Lee Jones role in this Fugitive ripoff, I guess. And but he's not as grumpy as Tommy Lee Jones, so that's pretty nice. Even though I like the grumpy Tommy Lee Jones because he's hilarious and he's awesome and badass when he does it, but this is not the Fugitive, this is a poor man's Fugitive. Remember that, people, because we're judging this as a sequel to the first two Taken movies, so we can't judge this as a remake of The Fugitive. But even though it practically is a remake of The Fugitive, a very bad remake, but yeah. The biggest problem with this movie, though, it's not really to do with the characters, except maybe for one. It's more to do with the predictability factor. This movie is so predictable from beginning to end. As soon as, without spoiling anything, there's something about how his wife died that you'll instantly know how it will be resolved by the end of the film. You just know. And that's all I'm going to say on the matter, because if I say too much more, it's going to spoil the movie. And I know a lot of people don't like spoilers, and I'm not going to do a spoiler review, but that's all I'll say. I guarantee you, right when you go see this movie, you're going to know right from the beginning what's going on. And they tried to throw you off at one point through the film, and it fails miserably. It really does. I did not fall for it at all, and I knew how this was going to end. Another thing that might be too much for people is some of the action scenes can be a little bit over the top. Unlike the first two Taken movies where the action was pretty grounded, this one, there are a lot of unbelievable situations where you know he couldn't survive that, or you know that it would be impossible for him to get out of this. But you know what, whatever. The movie, it's a lot of fun during those times, and you just go along. If you can go along with it and remove, you know, any logic that goes into it, then you'll have a good time. But for the most part, it's kind of dumb and silly at times. So guys, I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. I enjoyed it somewhat, even though there were some unbelievability at times. I don't think it was always believable, and the whole revolution at the end, the whole wrapping things up, I guess, it didn't really work as well as I think they were hoping. I felt it was really weak, all the explanations at the end, and I felt it failed. So that's pretty much it, guys. I enjoyed the movie. I wouldn't recommend to go see it in theaters. I'd wait for Blu-ray or DVD, maybe renting, not buying. If you're a fan of the first two Taken movies, then yeah, go ahead for sure. It's not as good as the first one. Maybe slightly better than the second one. I'm not even too sure myself yet. I think, for me right now, maybe it's even with the second movie, for me. Everyone's gonna always have a different opinion, and that's fine, and that's all I can say on the matter. So guys, until next time.